This episode is powered by Poddecks. Poddecks are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you are a new podcaster or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddecks.com. Use code CinemaGold for 10% off your first order. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Cinema Gold Podcast. I'm your host, Larry Leese. Today we continue our special series, Flashback Friday, where we give a review of a classic film that we enjoyed watching. This week we are diving into the thriller, The Belko Experiment. The Belko Experiment is one of the strangest and most unusual films I've probably seen in a decent number of years. Perhaps my entire life. Okay, there was Midsummer, but that's for another day. It's your average high-rise building full of 80 American workers in a remote part of Bogota, Colombia. While the Colombia location is strange, the office is just like any other office. On what appears to be just another day of work, a strange voice comes over the intercom. All the employees have been sealed inside their workplace. The only way to survive is to kill each other. Now the question is, who will kill and who will be killed? Greg McLean makes an excellent return to the subgenre of bloody thrillers. The Belko Experiment is written by James Gunn, making a terrifying situation into somewhat of a funny moment. The pair join forces and make one of the best comedy thrillers of all time, and they become the perfect duo. The Belko Experiment, Gunn and McLean introduce us to the mundane life of office workers, complete with all the personalities one would expect to find. As someone who has worked in a typical cubicle office setting by day, I could relate to much of what is shown, and it was hilarious. When looking at the people you work with every day for weeks, or even years, you think you know them, but do you really know how they would react in stressful situations? Gunn and McLean bring this idea to life by throwing the employees of Belko into a fight for survival. And it definitely shows how different people can be when their own life is on the line. This concept is almost like a mashup of Office Space and Battle Royale, resulting in much slaughter and hilarity. While there are a number of characters involved in this film, and not a lot of time before things get intense, all of the characters are well acted and still feel complete. Even the ones that are not on screen for long feel like whole characters, so you understand who they are and what their motivations are. While the entire cast is enjoyable, there are two people that make this movie great. The first is John Gallagher Jr. from Hush and 10 Cloverfield Lane as Milch. Mike is kind of a loser, but he is also caring and one of the few individuals that puts others before himself, even when things go from bad to worse. Gallagher has been in a few horror films over the past year, and I continue to enjoy every performance because he is able to completely transform into his character. The second actor that I love in this film is John C. McGinley from Office Space and Identity as Wendell Dukes. Wendell's is kind of the office creep, and his demeanor does not improve when the killing starts. What makes McGinley's performance stand out is the amount of humor he brings to the role. He may be completely psychotic, but he has fun while doing it. Both of these actors are amazing, but so is virtually every other actor. There is one other character that I was disappointed with, not because of their acting, but because the character gets killed off way too early on in the film. Looking back at 2017 and the number of horror films that came out then, most were lacking in story, or they have been excellent, but more on the serious side of horror. The Belko Experiment gives audiences a delightful amount of carnage and mayhem in a humorous office setting. Most people can relate to one or more of the characters in the film because they have similar jobs and work with similar personalities. When thinking about the film, my only true criticisms are the terrible use of CGI and the fact that an early favorite among the employees gets killed off too quickly. Otherwise, I can say this is the kind of horror film that makes you gasp and laugh in turn, resulting in an exciting experience you won't soon forget. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Cinema Gold Podcast. Let us know your thoughts by sending us a tweet at CinemaGold2, or send us a voice message by calling 682-305-0483 and share your thoughts. Have you seen this movie? What do you think about it? Is this your type of movie? And what kind of rating would you give it?
Thank you for listening to the Cinema Gold Podcast. If you want to become a supporter, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. Follow us on Twitter at cinemagold2 and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/cinemagoldmovies.